Welcome to this week's episode of Business Solutions, where we provide solutions on formed lifestyles. My name is Kingsley Oluoko. With the increasing number of social spaces within our social communities, there has been a need to fill in the gap and reduce the number of lack of transparency issues, be it in the chamas, be it in the fundraisers, for the Rora show, and even for that barrel fundraiser that needs to pull the funds together. And so to fill this gap, I'm joined by Nobuk Africa, the CEO, who is going to understand and make us understand how he has digitally and innovatively been able to solve these solutions within the social gatherings that we are all part of in a way or the other. Welcome, sir. Can you introduce yourself and just let us know who you are, why you do this, and why Nobuk Africa?
Yeah, so my name is Elvis Bando, CEO and co-founder of Nobuk. Nobuk is a payment reconciliation company focusing primarily on communities, groups within the African context.
We primarily help them to collect funds, reconcile payments, and make these reports available and shareable within their group context. So essentially, that's what we do at Nobuk Africa. I remember when I was young, there's this photo I have when growing up where I think my dad was in a chama and they took a photo when they were actually breaking apart because there were some financial issues. So that is the earliest, one of those earliest photos I remember. But I think more recently, it's just we've been involved in chamas that have broken up because there wasn't enough financial reporting. There wasn't clarity how payments were being done and so on. So that is also partly why we thought of developing this solution. But a lot more, I would say more directly, is just when we started this company, we actually wanted to actually help small businesses reconcile. So essentially we were bookkeeping for smaller businesses. But over that time we realized that the biggest issue these people face, especially if you are running a small businesses, it usually tend to happen that you have someone running your business or you're employed and you have another side business that somebody is running. So lack of transparency around how to manage those businesses was an issue. Payments coming in, is it cash? Is it how do you track all those things? And that's actually where the actual product really started.
Okay.
We ran there for about a year and then realized that there's this big segment that is unsolved for. Like if you look at chamas, groups, there's a lot of transparency issues that just cuts across a lot of communities. And in Africa, we are all about communities. Everything we do in community settings. So we looked at this problem and just looking at the size of the market and refocused our attention on communities and groups. We don't think of it, we think of it that we have come to support the treasurer. The treasurer work cannot be taken in by any tool. I think we just there to supplement, because you realize in all Africa context, a treasurer is also somebody who's working, who's doing this and who's doing that, and keeping tabs of all those records at the same time. When somebody pays you, you have to update, and people expect you to update immediately. Sometimes can take a toll on these people. So essentially our product is just to support that treasurer, so that his work is a little bit more efficient, a little bit faster, and a lot more organized. And also just to reduce to make the expectations, especially for members, to be a lot more aligned. Because when I send you money in the middle of the night and I expect notification, sometimes you also engage in other business, or you're in some other place you can't update at the moment. Now, this actually tool allows you to actually still manage to do all those things while the member still gets their report. They can still get their statement anytime they want. They can still get all these things without having to interface a lot more rigorously with the treasurer. Yeah, so Nobuk is a company. The product is called Nobuk Collect. It essentially is just an application on web, and also on Android and iPhone. You download the app. Once you've downloaded the app as a treasurer, so not all members in your community or your group download, only the treasurer or admin can have the app. Once you download, you set up your what we call a collection. That collection can be for any purpose you are intending to collect for. It could be for wedding, for different things, a funeral, you can be doing a chama, any of those. Once you've created that collection, you end up with something called a link, which you just share with your group. You can also have an option of USSD if some part of your membership might not be having a smartphone. You can also just generate a USSD automatically and then share with your group. So consistently from there on, when they pay, instead of going directly to a pay bill to pay, they just click on the link, they put in their phone number, they get a prompt from M-Pesa, and then they pay. So they don't have to remember the phone number, the account number, and all those things.
Yeah.
So essentially that's how it works. So the treasurer downloads the app, creates a link, shares with the community, and the community just uses that to pay. When they pay, it automatically updates directly on WhatsApp group that they are on, or the treasurer directly. We call ourselves a reconciliation company first because we don't actually hold any money. So when you come into our platform, you probably have a bank account where you want the funds to go, or you have a pay bill or a Safaricom till where you want the money to go. You automatically connect it to that your collection. So when you're creating collection, there's a process where we ask you where you want the money to go. You set that up there. Once you set it up, what we do is just we initiate payments directly into those payment accounts. So in that case, we essentially don't hold money. But because we've initiated those transactions, we know how much it is and who has paid and so on. So now we collect that records and organize it in a way that the group wants to see. Yeah, so essentially that's how we actually capture that record. So you can capture additional details, like for instance, if you know the way in Africa, we don't necessarily just give money. We want to give money for this and for that, all the challenges that we are running on the group and so on. So you can actually tailor them into that way. So it gives you a little additional context on top of whatever you're already using to collect, or the bank account, to basically be able to collect additional information about what you're collecting for. So essentially that's the part of reconciliation. So we charge a one-off fee. One-off fee based on the service, so based on the number of people in your community. So if you have a smaller community, we charge as little as 5 shillings to as much as 30 shillings, depending on the features and the number of people in your community. So essentially that's how we charge, because we are not actually in the midst of your money. Your money goes directly to your bank account. So we charge you for the service of doing all this reconciliation and reporting for you. Yeah, so currently for mobile money, we only support Safari M-Pesa, just because I think from the analysis we've had, a huge percentage of people are just on that network. So we have 98% of people just using M-Pesa. So it was just a good practical decision basically to focus our attention there. However, for bank transfer, and sometimes it's some of this collection, you have diaspora people wanting to contribute, we add the element of cards. So you can actually also pay via card. So you just put in your card details, and then we deduct that money and send it directly to the bank account. So as a means to an end, we are thinking about something in that space. As you know, card fees sometimes can be quite high, and that is one of the ways we are looking at, because when you want to do some of those international remittances, the fees can be quite high. We are looking at a partnership that will allow us to be able to use some sort of crypto or blockchain to be able to transfer those fees. So I won't say crypto for the sake of crypto per se. It's mostly just as a platform that enables us to do like some of those international remittances a little more seamlessly for the people and at a lower fees. So if you look at how we traditionally were fundraising, it was somebody who is a treasurer, who is a mobilizer actually, who knows how to mobilize funds from people. He will gather you in a room and then play games that help you to actually raise that funds. Typically, that's how we've always fundraised.
Yeah.
When digital platforms, so you'd find such spaces like I think there was Jivanji, there are places like Stiho, where people just gather to gather funds, right? And that is how we used to, our fundraising is a lot more gamified. But when the digital systems came, I think when they built for more donations. Like, I just want to give you money and that's it. Those donations have not, you are not gamifying it. So it's just what I will, and that's what I give you. And that's what more prominent in the other Western countries. And I think that is where there was a little bit of disconnect with the platform that are here and a platform that have come in and our product. Our product wants to simulate actually how we actually been doing fundraising. So we have pledges, because sometimes I'll just pledge. Sometimes that money that you put in the table, it's not money per se, it's just to gamify, to help you raise more funds. So it helps you to do those things. It helps you to actually prompt people to pay. So it's a lot more infrastructure to actually simulate how we actually use to actually fundraise, which is one big difference. From the traditional sense, I think it's just becoming, post-COVID, it's just becoming impractical to have these spaces. The other day I went to, I think there's this place in Africa Center where they also do this. But the numbers, they even tell you the numbers have gone down. I think they used to charge like 1,000 per hour per room to gather and then do those fundraising. And the numbers are going down just because I think there's a lot more mobility, people are going to different places. So you almost need another platform that is virtual, that can enable you to do all these things in that way. And I think that's where we fall in. So we on board, so depending on where the state of things you are. So you'd essentially just pull in the statement that you already have, push it into our system, and then we'll extract it and again record keep it. Because we are a record keeping company, we don't handle the money. So if you tell us this is the money that is there, that's what we also just push up. So essentially you can import your older records directly into the app, and then it will also now add the additional ones will now continue coming up. Yeah. So first, we are a certified data processor. So if you go to the website of ODPP, you'll actually find us there. Essentially, what we've gone through the process of just looking at how we store our data, how we keep records of all this information, and we are certified. That is just one place. But also just on more like generally how we practice data practice is our systems are such that we only store information that you give us, very minimum information. Sometimes we don't have your names, actual names, you don't have those things. If you put in a pin, that is actually a Safaricom system, that is not even our system. So the way we've limited our system is such that it only captures the information that you actually given us. And with that information could be like, you could be Kingsley on this group and the other one, they know you as Babati or someone. Like, we don't really care who the person is. What we know is that this information first is very critical for you. So we store it. We do all the practices that are necessary to store it in a way that only very few people can access it, or with only the people who are certified can access it. In our organization, we have two certified data processors, so they can look at part of it, not all of it actually. And also, the way we architected our system is such that part of the information is spread across very different systems. So even if we sometimes have a breach in one system, you won't even know what that person is. You have to link another system and breach another system to be able to even gather what this thing is all about. So that's some of the practices that we generally practice just around how to protect the data that we have and at least the privacy of the people who are using our platform. There's a lot of elements in artificial intelligence. We usually don't speak a lot about it, but there's a lot of elements in terms of reconciliation. For instance, when you put in your name, when you put in your detail, your name, and or you pay multiple times, we have to aggregate that. We have to know this is Kingsley. If it was Kingsley and June, and then there's June and Kingsley, we have to resolve that into one. So there's a lot of elements of AI that we're using in the back end to support that service, including the bot that we're talking about, generally, just to make that interaction very seamless for you. Yeah, we're still building a lot on that infrastructure. Yes. I would say 94% of new users on our platform are referrals. Like referrals from either they have been referred by someone directly, or they were in a group that were using it and they loved it and they started their own collection. So in that sense, it's actually very important to us to actually have a program just around how do we incentivize people who come onto our platform from referrals or who refer other people. That's actually how we've been growing. So somebody sees it and loves it and refers to someone else and so on. Now we are almost over 1,000 collections that have been done on our platform, and all 94% of them are just referrals, because I think we try to provide a very good service. We also try to provide a very good interaction in terms of customer support when there are issues and things like that. So we start from 200 shillings, depending on how many people refer, which is redeemable for your next collection or for the things that you're doing subsequently. Yeah, so if you're looking at a solution that helps you with transparency, and it's important for us because you almost have to want to be transparent for Nobuk to be of help to you. So if you're looking for any solution that is going to help you with that transparency in your community, whether it's a church community, whether it's a school community, whether it's just a chamas and so on, I think Nobuk provides you the technology to allow you to do all those things a lot more seamlessly. I think the sweetness of a cookie is actually in eating it. And as you just try it, we give you a free plan to test for up to a month. Test it out and see. Physically, we are located at ABC Place on Westlands, on the 10th floor. That's where our offices are. But we are everywhere. If you just go online, Google Nobuk Africa, you'll find us there.
There you have it, from CEO Nobuk Africa, Elvis Bando. For any gatherings, be it a wedding, be it a fundraiser, are you the next politician, you want to collect funds and you want to do it in a more transparent way? Sign up Nobuk.Africa to onboard your collections in a seamless and smooth, transparent platform. My name is Kingsley Oluoko. For this week's episode of Business Solutions, ensure you subscribe, like, and share this video for your next solution on formed lifestyles. Until next time.